ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's Bhakti Shastri class. Today we are continuing to shloka number 1 in Ishopanishad. Last class we have seen the invocation. Today is the lesson 3, which includes mantra 1, 2, and 3. The first 3 mantras will be covered today. The overall Ishopanishad, it has 18 shloka together, and you can see the overview like this. The first 3 shloka, along with the invocation, it will teach us how to live in harmony with Ishvara, that is the Supreme Lord. And then from 4 to 8, it explains about the necessity for understanding Ishvara, or the Ishvara can be understood by spiritual vision, how to understand the Ishvara. And then 9 to 11, there are 2 things. One is knowing and other one is worshipping. So 9 to 11 is speaking about right and wrong vidya, that is for understanding the Ishvara, the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. And from 12 to 14, it is right and wrong upasana, that is worshipping the Supreme Lord, upasana. And finally, 15 to 18, the prayers to the Ishvara, to the Supreme Lord, for revealing himself. Here, the vidya is something to understand with our brain, to understand the subject matter. And upasana, that is to worship the Lord with the love and affection, that is something to do with the heart. So giving our brain and giving our heart to the Lord, that means we have to make active endeavor to understand the Lord and to please the Lord. And also, that is not enough. If we do only so much, we have to pray to the Lord. That means just by our endeavor, our hard work, the Lord is not going to reveal himself. There is also the prayer is needed. The constant prayer to gain the mercy of the Lord, we must have this. So altogether, there are 18 shloka which describe all these things. For today, we have 3 parts, that is 3 shloka. The invocation we have already seen in the last class, that is how the material world as an emanation from the Lord is perfect. The Lord is also perfect and the creation is also perfect. And if we see any imperfect in this creation, that And that is also the part of that creation itself. Because if we see other things, that is the working of this entire system, it is so perfect. And within that perfect creation, the Lord himself has kept certain things, the systems are made in such a way that the living entity who are living here should desire to go back. One should not try to settle down here. Nobody is going to settle down in the jail, or nobody is going to settle down in the hospital. If you are doing that, then the purpose of the jail or purpose of the hospital is not served properly. So hospital is also perfect, the jail is also perfect. But if we see this hospital or the jail as a restaurant, then it is our imperfection. How we look at this world is will decide whether we think this world as perfect or imperfect. It is not the problem with the creation, it is our own understanding. After knowing this, we will be continuing to mantra 1, that is everything is belonging to Ishvara. So whatever is here present, everything belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is described in the mantra 1. And in mantra 2, how living in harmony with it benefits everyone. When a person understands that everything belongs to the Lord, and one accepts only whatever quota is given to him and don't encroach upon others' property, then what are the benefits that he gets? That is explained in the second mantra. And in the third mantra, if you don't do that, that is being in the disharmony, how living in disharmony with it will harm the person. So these are two opposite things. Mantra 2 is telling what are the benefits, and mantra 3 is telling if you don't obey, then what are the consequences that you need to face. All of you can open the book, the mantra 1. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha magrida kasya svidhanam. Here word by word meaning you can see. Isha means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is by the Lord. Avasyam. Avasyam means controlled by the Lord. Idam, this. Sarvam, all. Yat kincha, whatever. Jagatyam jagat, within the universe. Jagat, all that is animate or inanimate. Tena, by him. Tyaktena, set apart quota. Bhunjitaha, you should accept. Ma, do not. Gridaha, endeavor to gain. Kasya swid, of anyone else. Dhanam, the wealth. The translation is like this. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this is the instruction in the first mantra. This book or this actually this Ishopanishad was written at the time of Second World War. In 1944, Srila Prabhupada was writing the Back to Godhead magazine, and during that time, the World War II was going on. In 1945, it ended. So this was very relevant at that time. Prabhupada says, everyone wants to have this kingdom of God, but without God, which is not possible. The Ishavasya principle, the people have forgotten it, and everyone wants to have more and more and more, but they don't know why they want to have it. What is the purpose? Without any purpose, just to satisfy their greed, just to become more and more proud, they are trying to encroach upon others' property, or they are trying to control everyone else. But what this Upanishad says here, if everyone follows this instruction, the entire world can be like Vaikuntha. Everyone only takes the quota which is set apart for himself and do not encroach upon others' property. So there is enough supply within this world in the for each and every living entity. It may be human being, animals, birds, or insects. Everyone can live here peacefully. But what makes the things go in wrong? If you see the richness or the wealth of the entire world, it is in the hand of very few people. They claim that I'm the richest person in the world, I'm the first richest person, or the 10th richest person, or 100th richest person. What does it mean? They have the wealth of the world. That means it has to be distributed to the each and every living entity, but they are holding all this wealth, because of which there is a artificial shortage. So what is told here? Everything animate or inanimate. Okay, so Isha means by the Lord, Avasya means owned and controlled. So these are the two words, animate and inanimate. What are these? This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. There are two energies. There are unlimited energy for the Lord, and it can be categorized in so many ways. But this is one of the way of categorization. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. Para means spiritual. Apara means material. Para means that which is beyond this material creation. And apara, that is opposite to that is this what we are here. So what this apara prakriti, that is a spiritual energy, it is termed as animate. Why? Because this includes living entities, which are moving. Or animate means, basically it means moving, but here contextually it is told as it is a spiritual energy. And what is the apara energy, apara prakriti? Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. Bhumir apo analo vayu kam mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yanme bhinna prakriti rashtada. The bhinna prakriti. Bhinna prakriti, apara prakriti, or this inanimate, these all are same. They all are jada. They don't have their own living symptom. Because the living entity or the jiva, the spiritual spark, is present within within that body, it shows the symptoms of consciousness. So that is the two different types of energy, that is para prakriti and apara prakriti. So everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. So both belongs to the Lord only. And there is nothing else apart from this. Whatever we see in this world or in the spiritual world, everything is covered within these two parts, para prakriti and apara prakriti. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. So every living entity is being fed by the Lord himself. The Lord makes arrangement for every living entity. It is not that human being is feeding the entire living entities in the universe or in this world. We plan only for a few small category of people, or to ourselves or family. We are only bothered about that. But the Lord is facilitating each and every living entity. It may be an ant in a small hole, or it may be a tiger in the forest, or it may be an elephant. Whatever quantity of food is needed, it is supplied by the Lord. When an elephant eats, it will eat some 40 kg of food. Who is supplying? It is supplied by the Lord. We cannot supply. We cannot maintain one single elephant also. We can only maintain some cats or dogs, and those cats and dogs also sometimes suffer because of us. But now, these big animals, big living entities, and some microbians which are invisible to our eyes, those things are also maintained by the Lord himself. So this quota is set apart for all these living entities. Now, what is the problem? This living entity, this human being, is the one which is creating all the problem. If you see the entire creation, if you remove any one of the species, the system gets disturbed. If you remove any one species of birds or one species of snakes or any animal, if you remove any herbivorous animal, the carnivorous animal will suffer. Or if you remove carnivorous animal, the herbivorous animals will increase such a way that all the vegetation gets destroyed. That means the non-vegetarian animals, if you remove them, all the animals which eat the vegetation, it will empty the forest. So it is balanced. So any one species is absent, then it will create the problem in the entire system. But if you remove human beings, there is no problem. Everything will come to the right order if you remove human being. No system is disturbed. The human being is the one which is creating problem in the entire system. No other living entity will create the problem. If you see the tiger or a lion, they eat only for that particular day. It will not make the stock. It will not think, okay, this deer, I will catch it and I will keep it in the cage, and when it grows, it will give birth to many other deers, small deers, and when it grows, I will eat them one by one so that I don't have to hunt. So much of intelligence is not there for a tiger or a lion. They will only think of that one day. But this human being is given some extra intelligence which is being misused. Why this intelligence is given? It is used for thinking about some higher purpose. The living entity, there are 84 lakh species of life, 8,400,000 species of life. It is not that by our endeavor we have got this human form of life. We have not done anything. We just went through that species of life. Jalaja Navalakshani, Sthavara Lakshavimshati, Kramayo Rudra Sankyaka, Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, Trimsa Lakshani Pashavaha, Chatur Lakshani Manushaha. So starting with the aquatics. Then comes the trees, Sthavara. Then comes the insects, then birds, then animals. One after another, the living entity gets its body, and it will just go through that experience. And it also grows in the consciousness. And finally, when it comes to the body of a cow, or a body of a tiger, or body of a monkey, the next body is generally a human being. If it is a sattvic jiva, generally a sattvic person, he may come from the previous birth, generally maybe from the cow. A rajasic person, it may be the previous birth may be a tiger. Or a tamasic person, his previous birth may be a monkey. I'm not telling about Charles Darwin. This is the evolution of the soul, not the body. So generally, in this way, the living entity goes through many types of bodies. So after going through this, that means we are not putting any active effort for getting a higher body. That's why the human form of life, it is durlabham. It is very, very rare to achieve. And once we get it, there is no guarantee that we get it once more. So that intelligence which is available in this human form of life has to be used for higher purpose. And what is that higher purpose? There are many people find that higher purpose in so many ways. Some people try to go for the heaven. Some people go for Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, all these places. Because it depends how much attachment we have for this material world. And one who is intelligent, he will go back to Godhead. But what happens when a person comes to human form of life? He will have a better intelligence, and that intelligence makes him to have a better eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. He can have a better facility. That itself becomes a bondage for him. He will not think anything beyond that. That's why the Brahma Sutra says, Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Therefore, now you should think about Brahman. You should understand what is your identity. At least till the last birth, you had no opportunity like this. But at least now you should think about it. When a person takes admission to a good college, it may be a good engineering college or a good medical college, the person should think how I have to get the good marks or good academics in this college. He should not be thinking that, oh, outside there was no such canteen. Their canteen is very good. Or here the garden is so nice. I can spend a lot of time here. These things are available outside also. You don't have to take admission to the campus for getting all these things. Why you have come here? That is to get the knowledge or to get your degree. Similarly, why you have come to this human form of life? To go back to Godhead, to put a full stop for the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. But what we are doing, we are becoming a better animal, a sophisticated animal who is planning for a life, eternal human form of life. We live as if we are not going to die at all. We accumulate in such a way that we are not going to die at any point of time, which is not true. So because of this misused intelligence for acquiring the quota of other animals, all other animals are going to suffer. The human being is destroying the earth. He is taking all the facility or all the resources available. He is making the slaughterhouses. He is taking all the wealth that is available. He's cutting all the trees and putting so many power plants and creating global warming. And there is no rain. The seasons are not in order. All these things are happening because of the greed. There is enough for everyone's need, but not for the greed. So this is the teachings of Ishopanishad. So one should understand to whom they belong. What will happen if it is not followed? That is also going to be discussed in the next coming sloka. Now let us go to the purport. There are totally 11 paragraphs in the purport for mantra 1. The first 2 paragraphs are describing about the glories of Vedic knowledge. And it also describes what are the mistakes that we make and which are not present in the Vedic knowledge, because of which it is called Apaurusheya. The Vedic knowledge is called Apaurusheya. Here Purusha word is used for the living entity. It is not made by a person who is living within the body of 9 gates. Navadware Pure Dehi. He is not living in that. It is not made by a ordinary person. That's why it's called as Apaurusheya. It doesn't have mistakes. And paragraph 3 and 4 describes how the Lord is the proprietor of everything. This is the Ishavasya principle, establishing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the one who is protecting, maintaining, and also destroying. Then next comes paragraph 5, the quota. How the quota for each and every living entity is kept aside. Every jiva, every living entity has his own quota. Then 6 to 8, that is 6, 7, and 8 is describing understanding quota in human profession of the earth. So what is the quota for us? That is also explained. It is not that we are telling Krishna is the proprietor of everything, so nothing is there for you. No, not like that. Human being also given some quota. One should understand what is his quota. And finally, living according to the Ishavasya principle, that is 9, 10, 11. These are the three paragraphs at the last, which describes the main purpose of this purport. Okay, those who would like to read can raise their hand. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the apara prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being. Mantra 1 purport. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. So anything that is present in the universe, everything is coming under these two things, para and apara. Either it is a material energy, prakriti means energy, or it is a spiritual energy. Apart from this, there is nothing else, and both belongs to Krishna himself. Now let us take some examples for that. How the Lord is the proprietor of everything. Our ownership in this world is transitory and hence illusory. I may be the lord of certain land, or I may be a lord of one house, or one institution, or a factory, or anything. But the possession what I am having is not permanent, because I myself is not permanent. It will go to another person. Before me, somebody else was the proprietor, and after me, somebody else will take the proprietorship. Then originally to whom it belongs? To that one person who is always present, the original person who never changes, one who was there even before the creation, one who remains even after the destruction of the entire material creation. Actually, it belongs to that person, not for us. So in this world, our ownership is transitory. It keeps changing. So it is a illusory proprietorship. If I think that I am the owner, then it is illusion. In a kingdom, this is another one example. The primary owner is the king, or it is the state, and the citizens are the secondary owners. In the kingdom, the king distributes the land for different people for cultivating different grains or different food, the vegetables and all those things. The king knows in each land what is being grown. But that particular farmer, he knows only about his kingdom. My land is this much big and it has so much of resources, and I am able to grow this much in a year. Only so much is done. But for the king, he has the information of each and every land which is present within his kingdom. Similarly, the Lord, he has the information, or he has the knowledge of entire creation, and we have the knowledge of very small creation of the Lord. So he is the real proprietor. And our dwelling, the home, carpenter makes a table, and he will give it to he will keep it in the home, and he will only take the salary which is to be given to him for his work. He will not be able to take the table which he has made. He cannot say that I have made this with so much of effort, I will take it now. No, that is not possible. The very purpose of your making is not fulfilled if you are taking it yourself. Then what is the need of coming here? The carpenter's work is to make this service. He will give this service of making the table, and he gets paid for his work. That is how the system works. So the person who is the owner of the home, or the person who has told him to make the table, he will own the table, not the person who has made that table or the carpenter. Then the tenant and landlord. The tenant will come and go, but landlord is always present. This is also incomplete example. The landlord is also going to die, but for this present example, the landlord is the one who is having the official proprietorship of the house, and tenant will only pay the rent for the house. Now here is a conversation. Sureshwar Priya Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. How the Lord is proprietor of everything. In the beginning of 1976 in Mayapur, we were walking on the roof of the Mayapur building when Jayapataka Swami came with a life member. He introduced a life member, an industrialist from Calcutta, to Prabhupada. This man was very respectful. Prabhupada said, "What is your business?" The man said, "I manufacture glass. I have a glass factory." Prabhupada said, "Oh, very good. How do you manufacture glass?" The man said, "Well, glass is made from silicon, which is in sand." Prabhupada said, "Who owns the sand?" The man was pious and bright.
Continue.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Continue, Mataji.
Okay. He said, "Oh, Swamiji, Bhagavan owns the sand." In other words, God owns the sand. Prabhupada said, "Oh, you are stealing from Bhagavan." Prabhupada put this man on the spot, and the devotees laughed, and the man laughed as well. Then he faded back a little bit, and the topic changed until he came back a few minutes later and said, "Prabhupada, I give in charity." Prabhupada said, "Oh, you are just a little thief then." Prabhupada was not going to let him off the hook. I love to think about how Prabhupada called a big man a thief, but did it in such a way that it was effective. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is how a pure devotee sees this world. So even whatever big person he may be, Vidhi Mahendradishcha Kitayate. A person, when he is whatever he may be, if he is not a devotee, for a pure devotee, he is not more than an insect. So he will point out what is the mistake. So whatever big man or whatever richness he had, he called him as a thief, because you are stealing from the Bhagavan. Now, what are the different quota? You see here, various animals in nature don't take more than their quota. The birds will come, they find the food, they eat for their satisfaction, and then they leave. They don't carry it. And the cow, it consumes this grass, straw, and they will give the milk for the man. It will not consume the milk. Cow, if you try to feed the cow anything made of milk, it will not accept. It will reject it. Even if you mix rice with the milk, then ghee with milk, ghee with rice, or milk with rice, it will not take. If you give only rice, it will eat. So any self product, it will not take. So that is the quota. The cow eats grass but gives the milk for others. The milk which produced by the cow, it is not. It cannot be consumed only by the calf. This practically those who know the cows, they can say. The calf, it will eat some amount of milk, and the remaining amount of milk will be taken by the person who is taking care of the cow. Now there are two things. One is the communism and capitalism, which we can see in the society. So let us understand in the viewpoint of communism and capitalism. What is communism? The communism says that everything belongs to the state. Nobody is the proprietor. Everyone should distribute the wealth equally. So that is the imposing artificial material equality. Why material equality? Because they are only speaking about the food and shelter. Everyone should get this equally. And what is the problem with it? So anyhow, somebody is doing some hard work and making a lot of money, making business, and the state says that it is equal for all. So you can take little bit and remaining you give to the state, and the state will distribute to all. Now the question arises, why should I work hard? If everything belongs to everyone, okay, let everyone work. I will work only for my satisfaction. Little bit I'll work and I just leave it. So talented people are not rewarded. That the person, even if he is capable of working, he will not be able to, he will not be encouraged to work with this kind of system. People become lethargic. Most people live in scarcity and so stay dissatisfied. Even in communism, if you see, the leaders, if they are not proper or if they are not honest, then they will accumulate all the wealth. The difference between a common man and the leader will be too much of difference in the wealth. The leader will be like more than king. He has all the wealth, and the common man hardly have anything to eat. So this kind of large gap will be created in the material communism. And what the capitalists say, it allows wealth to determine the position and power. So capitalists say that you work hard and whatever possession you have, it is for your enjoyment. Nobody is going to take it from you. So work hard and enjoy your senses, and you can possess as much as you can. So there is a competition. Now what is the problem? The wealthy exploits the needy. The person who is in need, he will be made to work very hard for getting the little wealth that is being provided by the person who is rich. So the rich will exploit the poor for extracting the work by paying them. So the wealthy exploit the needy. And there is a too much competition, cutthroat competition, and there is insecurity. People have to work very hard just to get their basic needs. And the greed is too much. Everyone is working for gaining money and nobody is satisfied. So the first one is also, no one is satisfied. Second one is also, nobody is satisfied. But what the Varnashrama system say, it is integrating absolute spiritual quality of all people with their material diversities. So when you bring Krishna at the center, Varnashrama means it is talking about Daivi Varnashrama. In Daivi Varnashrama, the Lord is kept at the center. And each and every living entity is the child of the Lord. Not only human being, it is everyone, the animals, birds, everyone. Everyone is a child of the Lord. Now what happens? The person is trying to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that endeavor, the person will work very hard to his full extent to satisfy the Lord with all his talents. And what he will do with that result, he will offer it to the Lord. And the Lord, being the father of each and every living entity, he is maintaining the whole world. So there is no thinking of proprietorship. Even though the person is working hard or he is making the wealth, he will not find himself as the doer. Because if he thinks like that, he gets the bondage. So the society can go on like this. This was the system in the entire world earlier. It has happened for so many hundreds and thousands of years. This Varnashrama system has grown. But in the present modern civilization, the problem arises because of the modern civilization, the cutthroat competition. So everyone is engaged according to their nature, according to the guna and karma. But in Kali Yuga, it has become a birthright, or we identify a person by the birth. But actually, as per the Bhagavad Gita, guna karma vibhagashaha. It is this. They have made the division as per the guna and karma. So by keeping Krishna at the center, everyone can live peacefully. Without God, we cannot live peacefully. Either you follow communism or capitalism, both will end up in the dissatisfaction of the people. Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. As a Bhagavad communism, as the communists, they say everything belongs to the state. We say everything belongs to God. We never say that anything belongs to anyone. No, this is Bhagavad communism. So everything belongs to God. Bhagavad Gita 1.15, London, July 15, 1973. Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Continuing further. So how to live according to this Ishavasya principle, whatever we have discussed now. Sarita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Living according to Ishavasya principle. If a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hands of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian but should also become a devotee of the Lord, offer the Lord all his food, and then partake of such prasadam or the mercy of the Lord God. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this is the spiritual or Bhagavatam communism, where everything is offered to the Lord and accepted as the prasadam. This prasadam will be fed to the entire world. This is like doing yajna. Yajna means to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even in the yajna that were happening earlier, each and every living entity will be made satisfied. That means whoever comes to that yajna, he will be given enough charity so that he will feel satisfied. So that is a yajna. So if we make this kind of yajna, then whole world will be peaceful. But in this age of Kali Yuga, the best yajna is Sankirtana yajna. Wherever Sankirtana yajna happens, then that land becomes prosperous and the people will also become happy. There are many cases, examples where people performed Sankirtana yajna and there was no rain. The rain came and there was war. There was about to happen war. The war has stopped and there was distribution of prasadam, because of which the people forgot their enmity and they came together. So this is all like, it's a magic. When we bring Krishna to, at the center, everything will take its own position. If Krishna is not there, then everything will create problem. Just like in this body also, in our body, as long as the Lord is there as Paramatma, the soul is also present and the whole body will function. As soon as the body leaves, the jiva leaves the body, then it is a dead body. You can take to hospital, you can do so much of work, anything you can do. You can try to find what is the problem. Everything is fine. The brain is also fine, the heart is also fine. But problem is, he is not able to speak. He is not able to, there is no living symptom. The consciousness is not there. Why? Because the root cause of the activity has been removed. So that is how we should bring the Lord to the society, to the family, to each and every activity that we perform, so that everything will be taking its own position, the right place. Those who would like to read can raise their hand. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Perfect Krishna consciousness. Not that we are imagining, just like, take for example, these material things, this table. This is how it is caused by Krishna. Krishna says, Bhumir aponal vayu kham mano buddhir evacha. Bhumi, this earth, binar, prakriti me astadha. This is my energy. So, Bhumi, the earth, is the cause of the tree, wood, and the wood is the cause of this table. Therefore, originally, Krishna is the cause of the table. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is a scientific way of explaining how everything belongs to Krishna. So even this table which we are sitting, which we are using, the chair which we are sitting, everything belongs to Krishna because everything is coming from the earth. The tree comes from the earth, which is maintained by the earth, and earth belongs to the Lord, the Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, the 5 elements. So everything belongs to the Lord. So we should not take anything neglectfully. Neither we should be careful to take care of Krishna's property, Krishna's living being, Krishna's house, Krishna's temple, Krishna's business. So this is the perfect Krishna consciousness. Understanding that everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna's everything. Everything is Krishna's. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkimcha jagatyam jagat. If we think like that, then that is perfect Krishna consciousness. So this is the goal of the entire world, to make this place a better way to live. If we perform this principle, if we understand this one principle, then whole world can live peacefully. There is no problem. But the problem is we want kingdom of God without God. That is not possible. We need Ramarajya without Rama. That is not possible. We are not ready to follow, but we only want the result. That is not possible. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. So what is kept for us? Set apart as a quota. Only eat that. One should accept only that part which is kept aside as a quota for us. We should accept it. The other things we should not accept. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. Now here is a exercise. Select examples from current affairs, national and international, where the Ishavasya principle is lacking. I think there is no need to do any in this one. What is that? Group. You can directly speak. National and international level, where the Ishavasya principle is lacking. Don't take anybody's name or any organization name. Just take the principles. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When we are talking about Ishavasya principle, we can say that if you are taking that Kashmir issue, we are not supposed to take the name, but then too I am just telling, there is always a fight existing between two different countries. They are telling it belongs to us and it belongs to the other part. But as such, it doesn't belong to either parties. It belongs to Lord Krishna. It is part of Bharat Varsha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. A similar example I wanted to give, the current war between Russia and Ukraine. There is a fight between the two countries claiming for some resources and all. So this is again, Prabhupada gave this example during the World War, and he has written it for the journal, and it is applicable for this also. And in today, Indian Prime Minister is also saying, Isha Vasan. I mean, he's talking about this principle, but people are not still listening to it, and we are fighting for what is not our. It is just the greed of the politicians or the people, which is, going on. Or for that example, US is also trying to pitch in and grab, intervene into another's affairs, just to look into the political matters and the political game. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else want to add something? Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just want to add one point along with this. We always talk about, and it is highlighted by the media people, that the billionaire and millionaire of the earth. So when we talk about millionaire or billionaire, whatever it may be, number one in the country, number one in the world, what does it mean? He is supposed to be the most corrupt person who has taken the entire property of Lord Krishna. So he is working against Ishavasya principle, according to my understanding.
In
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada language, he's the biggest thief.
Thief, yes. Hare
That's
Krishna.
what Prabhupada says. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. If you see in the society, there are enough amount of food. Food is grown in many places and it can be distributed for all. But what they do, they will create artificial scarcity, because otherwise they cannot make money out of it if they just distribute it. And after creating artificial scarcity, the cost will increase too high. Maybe 2 times, 3 times it will increase. And then they will supply it. So because of that, they can make a lot of profit. It's like black market. So they will supply in black market. So that is because of that, many people die because of the scarcity, non-availability of the food. So this is one of the example you can see. So everything is there, but we are only stopping. The animals, they try to eat something. Just like if we have a mango tree, the animals will come. They will try to take whatever quota is there. But we put the fence and we try to stop them. But anyhow, they will get their quota. But if we are going too much into that, people kill them or poison them, then it will they'll get the reaction back. Just like we put too much of insecticide for the vegetables, and we are also eating that insecticide and pesticides. Now who is the pest? We are only pest. We are putting pesticide for ourselves. Because of that, cancer and the many difficult problems related to the brain or cancer, all these things are coming because of these pesticides. So we are trying to stop the animals to take their quota, but we are not getting our own quota also. That is the reaction. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I wanted to just narrate few things. If you look into the, the animal kingdom or the birds especially, if you put some grains for them, they will not eat themselves. They will just make the sound first to gather other birds and then pick only what is come into their beak. So they are not in the habit of grabbing everything. So first is they, are following this Ishavasana principle of us getting other friends also. For example, crow, it makes a lot of sound to gather a lot of crows and then picks up the grains. That's what I want to do. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Prabhuji, I want to add one more thing. There is a hot, this one news is happening in Kerala. From last almost 2-3 months, one elephant, a wild elephant is attacking all the human population. So as such, this human population, they have given a place in the forest area. But elephant belongs to that particular area only, and it started eating its own food. But of late, what happened? It tasted rice and that particular elephant started attacking the houses, and it used to take all the ration shops and all. It takes all that rice and go away. So in order to escape from that, this selfish human community, they just had taken this elephant after giving that the targeting with anesthesia and all, and it was taken to the border of Tamil Nadu. So now it is creating havoc at that area because it is used to that rice and it is going there. So true to speak, forest belongs to all animals and we are not supposed to go there, but then we go to their territory and we will play our own selfish motto, and in order to satisfy ourselves we are just driving such the wild animals away from their own habitat. So we are not following any Ishavasya principle. We are against it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. These elephants have a different nature. They'll go in a path and they'll come back after 10 years. If you build anything in that path, they'll break it while coming back. It belongs to it. In the forest, it will go in particular path and it can remember in what path it has walked. And few years it will stay in that place. And after that, it will come back through the same path. And whatever grown in that path, it will break everything and it will destroy. Anyhow, Rakshita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So my question, it's a question actually, like at home also we try to kill the mosquitoes, we try to kill rats and all these things, no? So which category does it belong to? Should we do it or should we encourage them like cockroaches and all that?
Yeah. So here comes the question, how much perfectly we can follow the instructions of the Lord or Ishavasya principle. If you are able to follow 100%, it is wonderful. There is an example in Chaitanya Charitamrita. His name is Vasudeva, I think. He was a leper. And on his body, there were so many worms. And when that one worm comes out and falls down, he will take it and keep it back on his body, saying that this worm is feeding on my body. If it falls down, it will not get his food. So that is extreme case. Everyone cannot do that. But what is possible for us, we can keep our house clean and we can put the mosquito net. These things are allowed. You can protect yourself, and the food you can keep it safe. You can keep it in a proper place, avoiding this such kind of insects, animals, all those things. But going to their territory and killing them, that is not allowed. Just like when we say, for example, in your garden, there are some ants have come. Now it is in a garden, it is at a side, it is coming and it will go up after some time. There is no need to make a plan how to poison them and how to kill them, all such things, unless it is really creating any trouble for you or trouble for your living. Unnecessary hunting of the animals in the forest, so just for enjoyment, all such things should be avoided. Otherwise, for keeping oneself safe and secure, it is allowed, because as long as we are in this material world, we do commit sinful activities. It is not possible to live in this world without doing any mistake. When we are breathing, so many living entity dies, and when we are walking, so many living entity dies. So all these things we cannot do anything, but at least to whatever extent able to follow such things, we have to follow, because the reactions will be too high if we do it intentionally. Is this okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, time for Kirtan.
Yeah, we'll see one last slide, then we go to the Kirtan. So in the lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service. That is Vedic literature. Devotional service. Vedic literature can regulate the working energy of a human being in such a way that he can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being. So this is explained in the page number 25. Okay. This may be different page number. Okay, fine. It's okay. So in the human form of life, we can do this Ishavasya principle. Okay, Rakshita Mataji, you can start the Kirtan.
Prabhuji, can I share the screen?
Yeah, you are okay. I'll make the co-host. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Kevalastakam? मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम् पावन पावनेभ्योऽपि हरे नामैव केवलम् आब्रह्मस्तम्भापर्यन्तम् सर्वं मायामयं जगत् सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं हरे नामैव केवलम् स गुरु स पिता चापि सा माता बन्धवो अपिशा शिक्षा ये चेत् सदा स्मर्तुं हरे नामैव केवलम् निःश्वासेन हि विश्वासा कदा रुधो भविष्यति कीर्तनीयामतो बाल्यात् हरे नाम एव केवलम् हरे सदा वासे तत्र यत्र भागवता जना गायन्ति भक्ति भावेन हरे नाम एव केवलम् आहो दुःखं महादुःखं दुःखाद्धुःखतरं यथा पश्चात्तं विस्मृतं रत्ना हरे नाम एव केवलम् दीयतां कर्णो नीयतां वचा गीयतां नित्यम् हरे नाम एव केवलम् त्रीणि कृत्या जगत् सर्वम् राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धं हरे नाम एव केवलम् मधुरं मधुरोऽभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम् पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरे नाम एव केवलम् Translation. More sweet than all the sweet things, more auspicious than all the auspicious things, the greatest purifier of all purifying things is the holy name of Sri Hari. The holy name Sri Hari is alone everything. The entire universe, from exalted Brahma down to the lowly clump of grass, is a product of the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. The only thing that is reality, again I say reality, is the holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. That person is a true preceptor, or true father, or true mother, a true friend, also only if they teach one to always remember. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. There is no certainty when the last breath will come and put an abrupt halt to all one's material plans. Therefore, it is wise to always practice chanting from very childhood. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Lord Hari eternally dwells in that place where truly exalted, spiritually advanced souls sing in the mood of pure devotion. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Aho, what a sorrow, what a great sorrow, more painful than any other misery in the world. Mistaking it as a mere a piece of glass, the people have forgotten this jewel. The holy name of Hari is everything. It should also be heard again and again with one's ears. It should be uttered over and over with one's voice. It should be perpetually sung and sung anew. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. It makes the entire universe seem insignificant as a blade of grass. It reigns supreme over all in a splendorous manner. It is full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. It is supremely pure. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Let us continue to the discussion. Text number 2. कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेश्च तं समा एवं त्वयिनान्यतेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे. Look into the word by word translation. Kurvan, doing continuously. Eva, thus, iha, during this span of life. Karmani, work. Jiji visheshchat. Jiji visheshchat. One should desire to live. Shatam, 100. Sama, years. Evam, so living. Tvai, unto you. Na, no. Anyatha, alternative. Itaha, from this path. Asti, there is. Na, not. Karma, work. Lipyate, can be bound. Nare, unto a man. The translation is like this. One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way. For that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. So this is the perfect way to live in this material world. If you want to live, you live like this. Otherwise, there is no other way. That's what is told. You see here. Evam tvai na anyato asti. Na anyato asti. Those who are not living as per this Ishavasya principle, they are only increasing their bondage. They are only increasing their punishment. Every day that we live in this world, it is like we are going more and more near to the punishment, or more and more near to the hell. That is na anyateostu. Na anyateto asti. That is, there is nothing other than this. The example is given. There is no alternative way to this. It's like you climb into a building to the top floor. Now you want to come down. So how to come down? Either you can use the staircase, or if there is elevator, you can use elevator also. There is no other way. If you find any other way, what is that? Just go and jump from the top, which is not possible. So the modern civilization is like jumping from the top of the building. One is going to get punished. Every day that we live, bhunjatete agham papa epachantyatma karana. Yajnarthat yajnashishta santo muchyante sarva kilbishai. One who is preparing the food as a offering to the Yajna Purusha, the Lord, Yajna Shina Santo. One who is accepting the remnants of the Yajna, then he is removing all his bondage. Yajna Shishta Shina Santo Muchyante Sarva Kilbishai. All the contamination gets removed. But what happens if it is not done? Bhunjatete agham papa epachanti atma karanat. One who is eating for himself, one who is cooking for himself, he is only eating the sin. and every day he is increasing the sin, and the person is going to get punished. He is going to the hell. So that is the only way. So that is the main meaning of this na anyat yatosti. Na anyat asti. There is no other way to live. You can only live with the Isha Upanishad principle. And the word shatam, here it is told shatam. Shatam means 100 years or hundreds of years. A person can live hundreds of years if he is following the Isha Upanishad principle without getting bound. But if he getting bound, then it is better don't live, because your living itself is a problem for you. Now in this purport, there are 6 paragraphs totally. The first paragraph is talking about how the karma is binding the person, how karma bandhana causes the death. Jiji Vishesh Chatam Sama. Second paragraph speaks about human life is offering the liberation through a karma. So there are 3 types of karma as we have studied in Bhagavad Gita: karma, akarma, and vikarma. If you are performing akarma, then it gives liberation. And third paragraph, Vedas lead one to ultimately to akarma, pure devotional service. Vedaishcha sarve rahameva vedyaha. One who has understood Veda, he should be able to perform akarma. And fourth paragraph describes how to begin this. How can you bring the Lord to the sense gratificatory life? Now I am accustomed to act all this kind of work, either vikarma or karma. Now how can I make it into akarma? That is explained. Then if you don't do it, then what will happen? Without God, everything is in vain. Finally, make all altruisms into karma yoga. Altruism means all the welfare activities, distribution of food, distribution of medicines, distribution of education, or anything that you do, anything good for the other people. These all are like, they are also binding because they are pious activities. The pious credit also comes along with the human form of life, or the taking birth and death will be there always. But if you are performing akarma, then there is no birth, death. The bondage will not be there. So that is how it is. In Sanskrit, the word karma means action, that is the activity that we perform, and the reaction, the result of our activity, that is also called karma, and the system of action and reaction, that is also called as karma. So that's why you say karma bandhana, the one which binds us in the action. So all these 3 things are termed as karma. Whatever activity we perform, that is karma, and the reaction of that activity, just like if anything goes wrong, we say, oh, it is all because of my own karma. I cannot do this because I have done something wrong. Now I got my karma. So that meaning karma means reaction. It is not action. And also system of action and reaction, just like gahana karmano gatihi. What does it mean? Gahana karmano gatihi means it is very, very difficult to understand the system of action and reaction, how it acts. Because a small mistakes that we have made, we get the reaction of that, and we cannot exactly identify which karma brought this reaction for me. So that is the system of action and reaction. Now, from this system of action and reaction, there are 3 types of karma. So this karma, it's a general term, karma. And in that, there are 3 parts: karma, vikarma, and akarma. That is, action can be of 3 types: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma is the generally prescribed duty. Whatever duties you have been prescribed to you, that is karma. This karma can make you to live happily within this world, and it will give some material benefits. That is karma. And vikarma means the forbidden action. The activities which should not be done by someone, that is the killing animals or intoxication, illicit sex, meat eating, all these are vikarma, forbidden actions. And akarma means the activity which free one from the bondage of this cycle of birth and death, the bondage of karma. That is, in particular, it is nothing but devotional service. Akarma means devotional service. Vikarma means the breaking of 4 regulative principles. Karma means what activity we do generally. Even the person may or may not be knowing who is God or what is the purpose of life. He'll be just living like an animal. It's just karma. It may not be punishable in the law of state. It is karma. But generally what happens when a person forgets the scriptural injunction, he will generally end up with vikarma, or he will do mistakes. And knowing Krishna, being in the association of the devotees, a person can come to the akarma state. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 34, Yatha prakashayati eka Krishnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha Krishnam prakashayati Bharata. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Through the consciousness, the living entity is the symptom of the presence of the living entity within this body is visible in the form of consciousness. If there is no consciousness, then it is understood that the living entity is not present within the body. So that is how we can make out. It is generally, even in modern science also, certain things will be understood by their effect. Just like the nanomaterials, the materials which are very, very small, we cannot see it even through the microscope. But how do you understand? By their effect. You make some experiment by which it will show the symptom of its presence. Like the electrons. How do you see whether the power is there in the line or not? We can put a tester, or you can switch on any of the appliances. You can switch on the light, or you can switch on the fan, so that you can come to know power is there. Power is being supplied. But if you find that the fan is not rotating, even if you switch on, it means that there is no power. You cannot check the electrons. You cannot open the wire and check whether electrons are flowing in this wire or not. That is not possible. If you touch, you can understand, because that electrons will come in our body and it will create the effect. The person will feel the shock, but still you cannot see the electrons. So that is the symptom of the presence. Similarly, if you want to see whether the soul is present within the body or not, one has to see it by the effect. That is true even for the modern science. Now, who is the sufferer? The living entity is present within the body, and to the extent we desire to enjoy the material world, we become bound by the karma bandhana. The bondage is because of the desire to enjoy. And because of this mentality, the immortal soul experiences mortality due to its desire to enjoy the matter. Therefore, what is the conclusion? If somebody wants to come out of this bondage, he has to give up the desire to enjoy. But as we know, desire cannot be made into zero, which is impossible. If somebody thinks that I want to make all my desires into zero, that itself is a desire. I cannot make my desires zero. I cannot give up all the desires. Then what is the solution? Dovetailing the desire in the service of Krishna. Whatever desires we have, material desires, it has to be spiritualized, then the person can come out of karma bandhana. That is converting karma into akarma. A person who is acting with an intention of getting the result from the activity is karma. And if we are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, then it is akarma. This definition is given in page number 22 of Ishopanishad. In the paragraph number 2, the karma, akarma, and vikarma, these all are explained in the Ishopanishad itself. You can see in the, here it is. Actions that are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, are called karma. And actions that are free one from the cycle of birth and death are called akarma. This is nothing but devotional service. And actions that are performed through the misuse of one's freedom that direct one to the lower life forms are called vikarma. These are the activities which are to be avoided. So therefore, if a person wants to come out of the bondage of karma and vikarma, one has to perform yajna. That's what explained in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. The dovetailing the desires to the service of the Lord is nothing but yajna. Because yajna means to please Krishna. Any activity that pleases the Lord is yajna. It may be you do the japa for the Lord, or sankirtan, or you can cook a nice bhoga to the Lord and offer it. That is yajna. Or you can bring some flowers and offer. You can decorate the Lord deities, or you distribute the prasadam, distribute the books, or serving the instructions of spiritual master. Anything that pleases Krishna is yajna. That is how we can make the karma into akarma, and by doing so, a person can come out of the bondage. Now, another question is, yes, if the spiritual life is a supplement or complement to our material life. What is the difference between supplement and complement? Supplement means that is optional or additional. I have my life, I am living my life. Okay, let there be some Krishna consciousness also. Some Krishna conscious activities also I do. As an addition, supplement. Just like we take some food just as a supplement. Even if it is not there, no problem, but still I have it. That's like. Complement means which is very necessary, which is not there within us. We need it. Just like we lack certain vitamins in our body, and because of that there is some problem, health problem, and the doctor will suggest you eat these tablets. So those are complements. You have to eat it. So like that, Krishna consciousness is necessary for my life, without which it is my life is incomplete. That is another way of understanding spiritual life. Or is it a replacement? Spiritual life, if you have spiritual life, you don't need material life. That is completely replacement of the spiritual life. So this is how it works. In the beginning, it will be just like a supplement. Okay, let me go to that Hare Krishna mantra people, they chant nicely, and the class is also very nice to hear, and nice prasadam will be there. Just like a supplement, it will come. Then slowly it becomes compliment. I can't live without this. I have to go. Every weekend I am going. Okay, even if doing weekdays, if possible, I would like to go there. I would like to read. I want to serve. And finally, it becomes a replacement. Once Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, you don't need this material life anymore. So it is not a supplement. It is not a complement. It should be a replacement for our material life. If we come to that level, that state of life, it is the perfection. Anybody like to read? Please raise your hand. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
There is spiritualizing all isms. There is no harm in becoming a family man or an altruist, a socialist, a communist, a nationalist, or a humanitarian, provided that one executes his activities in relation with Ishvara, Ishavasya, the God-centered conception. Mantra to purport.
Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhupada.
Jai. So if you are adding God to the sense gratification, then it becomes karma kanda. A person who is very accustomed to do sense gratification, whole life he is enjoying the world. Now he is bringing God to his life. That becomes the karma kanda. That means he wants to do it as per the scriptures. Okay, let me see what is told in the scriptures. That is karma kanda. He is using the instructions of the scriptures for his own enjoyment. And if you are bringing God into the altruism, that is, altruism means any social welfare activity, then it becomes spiritual altruism. That is the beginning, how a person starts his spiritual life. Just like there are something will be common, like we have our sense gratification, and also there is religious practice. So what are the activities common in both? Something which gives us sense gratification also, that means which is attractive for people. At the same time, it is the practice of religious activity. Such activities will become the beginning of one's spirituality. That's how a person can start the spiritual life. One can begin the spiritual life. Just like a person who is very having a lot good heart, he has a good helping nature, or he want to feed the poor. This is a kind of altruism. In one sense, it is a sense gratification because he is doing it because he's getting some pleasure out of it. He's getting some happiness. But at the same time, it is something great. It is not that he is simply wasting his money. He is using it for some good purpose. So it can be connected to the religious activities. Okay, you are distributing free food. Do it as a prasadam. Offer it to the Lord, then you distribute it, so that you will not get the bondage. So in this way, the person can begin. One can start the supplement. Then gradually one can go higher and higher levels of spirituality. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Not more than what we require. Whatever wealth is there within this universe, all belong to God, and we are the sons of God. We have got right to take advantage of his wealth, but not more than what I require. That is all. This is spiritual communism. If you take more, then you become punishable. This is the law of nature. Bhagavad Gita 1.15, London, July 15, 1973. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. So now we have understood what is Ishavasya principle and why one should follow it. If we are not following Ishavasya principle, there is no other way. One cannot jump from the top of the building. One has to get down through the steps. So one cannot live in this world like an animal, because animals don't have karma. Human being has the karma, the reaction. The animal taking birth as an animal itself is a punishment. There is no again punishment for that. But human being, he is given the responsibility because he has a higher intelligence. If the dog breaks the traffic light, he will not be punished. But if we break the traffic signal, then we will be punished. Why? Because it's a dog. It's an animal. Being an animal itself is an excuse for it, but not for human being. Now let us see what if we don't do it. Because unless we know what is the punishment, we don't follow. So what is the punishment for those who don't follow Ishavasya principle? Asuryana mate loka andhena tamasavrita tamste pretyabhigachanti yeke chatmahano jana. This is the text number 3. Asurya nama te loka. Asurya means it is the asuras or the demons meant for asuras. Nama, famous by the name. Te, those. Loka, planets. Andhena, by ignorance. Tamasa, by darkness. Avritaha, covered. Tan, those planets. Te, they. Pretya, after death. Abhigachanti, enter into. Ye, anyone. Ke, everyone. Cha, and Atmahanaha, the killers of the soul. Jana, persons. Translation. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. A person who does not follow the Ishavasya principle, he will enter into the darkness. And that person is termed as here, killer of the soul. Going to the translation, going to the purport, there are totally 6 paragraphs. The first paragraph is talking about who is an asura. Second paragraph talking about the soul killer or Atmaha. And third one, how we can liberate the soul without killing it. The first paragraph, Asura. Here, Asura means, according to the etymology means the learning of meaning of a word by its root word, that is dhatu. Here, Asu means breathe, Ra means ramante, or one who is trying to enjoy. One who wants to enjoy life air, or one who wants to enjoy the body, or one who is using the body for his own enjoyment, sense gratification. He's a Asura. That is the definition. And Asura, it doesn't mean that there is a category of people. Like even Prahlad Maharaj also born in the Asura family. It doesn't mean that he is a Asura. He may be born in the family of Asura, but he is a Mahajan. He is a great devotee. So Asuras are not just physical form with specific body, but mentality also. Physical body may or may not be there. Just like Duryodhana. He may not be looking like a demon, but his mentality is like demon. In Kali Yuga also there are many demons. They may not look like demons, but the mentality is demonic. Even devotees in the body of persons in Asura body, that is Vritrasura or Ghatotkacha, these are people who came in the family of Asuras, but actually they are not Asura. They are great devotees. But other people like Alambush was a relative of Bakasura. In Mahabharata war, Kurukshetra war, he was there and he took part of the Duryodhana. So he was a person, family from the Asura, and he was working for Asura only. He is a friend of or a relative of Bakasura, and Bhima killed Bakasura. So in this way, asura means one who is enjoying the body or one who is using the body for his own sense gratification. Now comes the word atmaha. What does it mean by atmaha? Those who like to read can raise their hand. Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Atmaha. If with all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of the soul. Sri Ishopanishad warns in clear terms that the killer of the soul is destined to enter into the darkest region of ignorance to suffer perpetually. Sri Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So this word atmaha, we should understand carefully. Here, atmaha is translated as killer of the soul, but in Bhagavad Gita, it is told avinashitu tadviddi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyasyasya na kashchit kartum arhati. That means the soul is never killed. You cannot kill the soul. Then why it is told here killer of the soul? So what does it mean? Here, the killing doesn't mean that you are destroying its existence. You are killing or you are destroying the purpose of its existence. That is atmaha. Because if you see in the same Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses another way. That is in 2.17, he says, soul cannot be killed. But in 16.21, he says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodhas tatalobha etat tasmadeta triyam tejit. So nashanam atmanaha, he says. That means it destroys the soul. So it is not that the soul gets destroyed his existence, but it enters the hell. Trividam narakasyedam, it will take to the naraka. So the purpose of the soul is destroyed. So that's how it is told as atmaha. And this atmaha is also there in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, chapter 20, 17th sloka. This is very famous sloka. It has a lot of instruction. Hrudeha madhyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam su kalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavadbhim na taret sa atmaha. Muralidhar Prabhu, you can read the translation.
The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the law of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.17. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is another way, another place where we can see the word atmaha. That means killer of the soul. So this, what this shloka says, human form of body is awarded automatically. That means we have no credit in getting this human form of life. We just lived life in this 84 lakh species of life. Then gradually we come to this human form of life. It is coming by the laws of nature itself. But it is a very rare achievement. Everyone will not get this opportunity. It can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat. If you have a boat, even in the middle of an ocean, you can save yourself. And spiritual master is the captain, and instructions of the Lord is the favorable wind. So what is this favorable wind? Just like when a boat is in the ocean, you need, this is how they were navigating the boat earlier. They are depending on the wind. If the wind is coming in the wrong direction, then they have to, either they have to direct in the right direction or they have to stop. But if the wind is in the right direction, they can use that wind and go, or they can continue their journey. So that is how it goes. So if you are going against the instructions of the Lord, it is like unfavorable wind. If you are going same direction as of the instruction of the Lord, then that is the favorable wind, which will take us back to Godhead. So that kind of boat we have got. One who is not using this opportunity, then he is a Atmaha. He is the killer of the soul. So one should not kill the soul. One should liberate the soul. Okay, finally, one should understand that killing of the soul should not happen. And now let us come back to the animal kingdom, how they are living. Are they better than us, or are they even more difficult? So here, if you are not getting the human form of life, in one sense, in the animal kingdom, they are better than us. Getting the human form of life and not utilizing the purpose, it will put us in more danger. It is just like you have a knife in your hand and you don't have the knowledge how it should be used. Or if you give a small knife in the hand of a child, then it will harm itself. Similarly, getting this human form of life and not knowing what is the purpose of this life, then a person can end up in the hell. Let us take some examples. Animals, are they better than us, or are they even lower than us? Anybody would like to add any points? Animal life is better than human form of life. Do you agree with this? If we don't follow Ishavasya principle. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, there are two things in this. Actually, as you have already mentioned, the animal life. So what is the purpose of our life? Why we have received it? It is a blessing. So if we say that we do not look for self-realization, then this life is a waste. Then we are not utilizing our human life. So considering that, animal life is better because they don't have to struggle. I mean, whatever they are looking for, the food and the protection, at least they're able to receive it because it is being provided to them by the Lord. But the key thing is, the real purpose of our human life is to understand and make spiritual progress, and that is the only purpose. And how we have received it by gradually evolving through the 8.4 million species of life. So Prabhuji, yes, considering that, it is there, but otherwise we are really not, we are just misusing our human life if we are not utilizing it for the right purpose. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When you compare our life with the animal's life, our life is far better. And again, we are given the intelligence and we have the choice whether to use the intelligence and to get back to Godhead. They don't have that kind of an intelligence. They can't even pray God. So they may not be able to get into back to Godhead unless and until they will get the human form of life, or they get associated with some devotee of the highest level. So our life is better compared to any other animal life if we are using it in the proper direction and if we are sticking into that Ishavasya principle. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So animals, they don't eat sleeping pills. Animals, they don't commit suicide. Animals, they don't need stress management course. Animals, they don't have any danger from their own species. Human being has. Living in the city, we are not afraid of any lion or tiger, but we are afraid of terrorists. We are afraid of thieves who are among ourselves. So these are the problems in human form of life. So being in human form of life and not understanding Ishavasya principle will make us less than animals. So there is no other way. There is only one way. That's what it's told in the second shloka. Na anyat. There is no other way. You have to follow. It is not an option. Spirituality is not a supplement. It's not a complement. It is a replacement. One has to follow the spirituality. Okay, with this we have come to the conclusion of today's class. What we studied. Yeah, perfectly constructed boat, human body. Spiritual master is the captain. Favorable wind is the instructions of the Lord. And if somebody doesn't follow this, he is a killer of the soul. Explained the terms Ishavasya principle, Para Apara Prakriti, Bhagavata communism, Atmaha meaning, and the conceptual flow of from mantra 1 to 3, and discuss ways principle of Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita, how we can apply in our life, and identify from current affairs, circumstances where Ishavasya principle could be applied, and examples from Prabhupada's life, the application of Ishavasya principle, that is how Prabhupada used to preach to the people, and appropriate analogies from mantra 1 to 3, and discuss the how our society could be improved through the application of this Ishavasya principle. So finally, Sri Ishopanishad advises us to exert our energy in the spirit of Ishavasya. Being so engaged, we may wish to live for many, many years. So this is the wish for every living entity. Nobody wants to die. Everyone wants to live. And why, I don't know. Everyone wants to live forever. Even if you try to kill an ant or a bird or an elephant, everyone wants, they will protect themselves or they'll run away. They don't want to die. This is one thing is there in everyone. So if you want to live forever, one has to follow Ishopanishad principle. So living many years, it means in both ways. One is living in this material world. One can live forever without getting entangled. And another way, if you are giving up this body also, you are going back to Godhead, living eternally. So there also it is eternity. Here also it is eternity. So with this, we have come to the conclusion of today's session, Ishopanishad. I thank all the devotees. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for today's session.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very
Hare
good.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji has a question. Harini
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question. In the slide, one of the slides, you say about the killer of the soul, right? But when it is said that the soul is eternal, like the soul cannot be killed and so on. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, the killer of the soul, you can understand the meaning of that, in what context it is spoken. As we can understand the literature 3 ways. One is the story or history of the literature. Second one is the morality of this literature. Third one is the analogy or metaphorical reason. So here it is the metaphorical understanding, meaning you have to take. While taking metaphorical understanding, one should not contradict the original meaning of the shloka. So here the person is killing the soul means he is degrading himself even after getting the human form of life. Coming to the first one, that is in simple words, I'll tell you, taking the literal meaning of the instruction, it is just like Ramayana. In Ramayana, Lord Rama went to forest and Sita Devi also followed him. That is the literal meaning of the story. And what is the moral meaning of that? The Sita Devi, as a chaste wife, she always follows the husband. So wife following the husband, it is the morality. Now, what is the metaphorical reason. You can say Sita was kidnapped by Ravana because she got attracted to the deer. So there is a true story also, and you can also take the metaphorical meaning that when we get attracted to the material things, the soul gets it will get separated from the Lord. So it's a metaphorical understanding. But when we give this kind of meaning, no, we should always refer to the instruction of the Acharya, Parampara. We cannot make it in our own way. Just like Bhagavad Gita, the political leaders, they wanted Bhagavad Gita to be presented in a non-violent way. So they said there was no Kurukshetra war. There was it was only in the mind. It happened like that. That is not the right way. The Kurukshetra war has happened, and there was violence, but that violence is for good. So that is the right way. So you cannot you cannot concoct the meaning. But if it is not contradiction, then you can use. You can also use the example of Krishna's birth. Krishna was the 8th child. First, Devaki gave birth to 6 children. They were all killed. This also has a metaphorical meaning, like we have Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. All these things has to go away. Then Lord Balram took birth. That means the Guru will come. Guru will come in our life. Then the Guru will prepare us to receive Krishna. So this is a metaphorical meaning, but it has very much in line with the original principle. By taking the metaphorical reason, we are not negating the original story. It is not that there was no Krishna or no Krishna's birth. It is only metaphorical. That is not the reason. That is not the way. But actually, the original story is there. And this is an additional principle or additional understanding we can get. Similarly, this Atmaha is also used. Atma, the soul cannot be killed. But here, the soul killer means the one who is destroying the purpose of the soul, the purpose of human form of life. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we'll stop for today. I thank all the devotees for coming to the class and actively participating in all the activities. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Thank you very much.